Hello, all you boxing fans out there. How are you doing? Russ here from Porky's Corner, the biggest sport. We say the things on here that nobody dares say. Today I'm joined by Adam from San Francisco. How are you doing, Adam?
Hello, Ross. How are we, sir?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good, good, mate. Good to see you.
Yeah. What's it like in San Francisco?
It's decent, man. The sun is shining. I'm working from the gaff, so yeah, all's good. We got a wee bit of rain for about a week, but nothing compared to the UK or Ireland, you know. So all good, man.
What made you go over there?
I went to school in Galway, and you can do this thing. It's called it's like the graduate program, or it's like a certain visa. You have a year to apply for it. So I did that out of school and then just liked the place, liked the lifestyle and stuff. So kind of kicked about and still here for now, mate.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Have you got any kids?
I do not. Not well, not none that I know of. So
Well, listen, don't have any, mate, because you'll never have any money. Have you got any pets?
I do. I do. Big massive dog man. Massive dog man. I've got she's over there on the couch. I've got an albino Doberman at the minute. She's a senior.
Yeah.
But aye, oh she's a lovely pooch. I'll send you a photo. But aye, big dog man. You are yourself as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I love dogs, mate. Yeah, I love dogs. I think that they just love you for who you are. Don't you want to go to exercise them and feed them, and they're all over you, aren't they? Give you loads of love and that, and never give you any back chat, or
Not
never
a bit.
never steal your credit card. So,
Not yet, anyway. Thank God.
are you a big boxing fan, Adam?
Huge. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Who's your favorite boxing fan?
Say it again.
Who's your favorite boxing man? Who's your favorite? Your favorite fighter?
Um, Currently Lomachenko, out of active fighters. Um, yeah, just love him. And he actually got announced to fight Kambosos there. It's set for May 12th.
Yeah,
Um, I think, timing's everything in sport and especially boxing. Like if you look at Loma, he had to jump through the divisions just because he couldn't get fights. Um, and now he's what 36, like he's getting on a bit. And now he has to fight. He fought obviously Devin Haney, and he has to fight the likes of Shakur Stevenson if he wants to go undisputed. It's going to be a big ask at this age, but I love him. Absolutely love him.
is that confirmed for May 12th? Because I ain't heard anything about it. Is it confirmed? Yeah.
Yeah, I just checked there before we got on. ESPN confirmed it in Australia. And like, if you look at Loma too, his career, he's got very unlucky in terms of the pros. Obviously, his amateur pedigree is unquestionable. But if you look at him since he's jumped into the pros, he fought for a world title in his second fight.
Yeah.
And the fella he was fighting, Salida, lost the belt on the scales. And when they were walking into the ring, it looked like they were maybe two weight divisions apart. And he got no favors. You would think ESPN signed this, double gold Olympian, they get the rub of the green or whatever. Um, so there's that. And then sure he was on to fight Cambosis as well before the war in Ukraine broke out for undisputed. Um, that like I think Cambosis is made for him. Like when he fought Haney, he was able to stay on the outside. Haney was versus Cambosis and like dictate the fight. But Cambosis is going to have to get inside on Loma, and in that pocket in the phone box, it's going to be a world of pain. I think he stops him within 6 or 7. So I'd
Yeah.
like to see him get back to the top. Oh, absolutely. I know he's not a massive puncher or whatever, but it's more just the type of punches. And again, he's going to show Cambosa stuff in the pocket that he's never seen in his life. I know he sparred with Manny for years and all the rest, but Loma's the man in my opinion. What about you out of active fighters? You're a big Usyk man, right?
Big Usyk man, aren't I? Yeah, big Usyk, Beterbiev. I know you, Crawford. I like Kell
Hmm.
Brook as well. I feel a bit cheated with Kell Brook because I followed Kell Brook's career from when he fought Ernie Smith, and
Hmm.
I just they called him the special one, and I thought he was special, but once he fought Golovkin, it were all
Yeah,
downhill for him.
big time man.
I have a big
Like you,
problem.
sorry, go ahead.
I would say I have a big problem with the people around him that talked him into that. His stepdad, his trainer, and Eddie Hills. I think it killed him off and spoilt what could have been a modern day great.
No, for sure. Ruined his career. I mean, I know hindsight's 2020, but I mean that was peak Golovkin, you know what I mean? Almost. And Brook was obviously in a very good spot himself. But I mean, there's levels, and then there's levels of power as well. I mean, I know it was a different eye that went against Spence, but like you said, I agree with you. I think that was the start of the end, or the start of the downfall, rather. And then when they got in with Crawford, I mean, it was just way too late. You know what I mean? Way too late. So I like Brook too. Did you hear about I'm assuming you heard about him and Eubank. No, Eubank Jr.
Yeah, I broke the news on this over 2 weeks ago about that. Same as I've known about Cash Ali and Joyce. I couldn't really mention that because Cash Ali's handlers live as off factories next door to where mine is.
Right.
So keep that under me out. But the Brook Eubank one's been doing rounds for a while now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just trying to get as much as they can out of Kel. I can't blame really the people around him because Kel's the one that employs him in it, but the fighter's the last one to know, innit?
Mm-hmm.
When it's not there. And we saw the performances against Crawford, and then we saw him in with Amir Khan. Yeah, he looked good against Amir Khan, but that was 2 years ago. And look what shape Amir Khan was in. He didn't look that good, did he?
Not at all. Yeah. It's tough too because obviously I'll never know as a common man, but I would say like life after boxing is difficult, and it's obviously affected Brook very poorly. And he's been open about that. I'm not going to get into specifics, but I don't even think he's so much coming back for the money. I think it's just he's day to day. He said he doesn't know what to do, but I think it's a bad time to catch Eubank Jr. And just, I know he's not overly active, but obviously he's been much more active than Brook. Um, and I don't know if he's going to stick on with what do you call Crawford's coach again? Um, Big fella.
Oh, Mark. Oh,
Bomac. There you go. I don't know if Eubank's going to stick with Bomac or not, but he kept it basic in the last fight, but just clear instructions. I don't really want to see the fight. You know what I mean? Like I think Eubank gets it done, and I don't want to see Kell come back, and I wouldn't even say tarnish his legacy. I just don't want to see, you know what I mean? Come back and get smashed, and then you're almost worse off than when you started. Bar the payday. But I think that'll affect him mentally much more than being on the couch now.
I think that Kell Brook beat Eubank. I think a lot of people have got carried away with the Beefy Smith win. I mean, this is I look at it right. What was Beefy Smith's top 3 wins before he fought Eubank? Well, obviously he had that original win over Eubank, didn't he? But there were a lot of issues with weights and that. Before that, you say Jesse Vargas.
Mm-hmm.
And who else would you say? Liam Williams? Are we to believe that with that CV he's going to be able to beat Kell Brook? I know it's not the Kell Brook of old, but I think Kell Brook technically will still have enough to beat him. Myself, he'll be at 160 as well, obviously, won't it?
Mm-hmm. That's the main reason why I think Eubank wins. Like I know Kell was always struggling to get the 147, but I think, um, again, just inactivity. Like obviously he retired and stuff, but so we saw it with Deontay Wilder recently. I know it's a different situation, but inactivity is a killer, and I always seem to forget it in certain instances. Like I thought Wilder would smoke Parker. I don't know what Wilder showed up. You know what I mean? He looked like a different man, but the inactivity, it's a killer, no doubt about it. So I hope I'm wrong. I genuinely hope I'm wrong, but I think Eubank gets it done. He's got a wee bit of momentum. So I hope I'm wrong, but that's what I think.
Yeah. What do you think about Paul Smith coming out today and doing interviews at the Jonas press conference, Jonas versus Mayer press conference? Paul Smith and Liam Smith. They're Stephen Smith's training a young kid on the show and that, but we've got Paul Smith there, Liam Smith. They're doing interviews at the Jonas Mayer press conference, and all they're talking about is Beta Beef, testosterone, and all that. Do you think that they should just move on now because it's not an adverse finding, is it?
No, I mean, I could talk about this all day, but
Yeah,
they should. No, they should definitely move on. But even past that, there's this talk. You know what I mean? Like, give Jonas her flowers, or let her take the center stage. God knows she deserves it. You're showing up there and kind of marring the event, crying about spilt milk. You know what I mean? Like, we can talk about atypical findings and all that all you want, but at that elite level, Beterbiev had Smith all day. Like there's no, I know after the Canelo fight they said, obviously COVID and the shoulder and all the rest, but they should just let it go. But sure, it was the same too after the Eubank fight for Liam. You know what I mean? He was whinging about, oh, I just felt flat and stuff. But then he's saying that it should be on pay-per-view for the third fight. I don't know. It's just too much whinging. But that whole atypical finding stuff drives me absolutely insane. Let me run through here. A couple of quotes from a certain Iceman from Bellariki.
Yeah.
So here, just a couple, right? So, and this was all in one interview. I didn't pull this from different stuff, right? But he said Smith is a bigger puncher at 175 than Beterbiev. I'm not even going to address that. There's no need. It's lunacy. But then he said that, how Arum wouldn't let him on the stage on his own because Arum couldn't be there. He said that was like a respect thing, and he wouldn't have done it to Arum. They knew about this behind the scenes. The reason Arum wasn't going to let him go up on the stage on his own is because he would have tried to pull his man Beterbiev's name through the mud. When there's no evidence, there's nothing. You know what I mean? And then Hearn saying, "Oh, he should have let me up on my own. He didn't arrive." All this respect my arse. Then he said, "We want to know why these levels are elevated." Is this like, are we on the same planet as Hearn with this whole Conor Benn thing going on? They want to know why. Do you know what I mean? Like, just the level of hypocrisy. And then, he's sending out all the leeches out with their mics and stuff. But I loved how Aram shut it down. You know what I mean? Like old school. Just, yeah, I'm gonna sue your arse off if you don't retract it. And Mr. Hill scampered away,
They retracted it, Adam, didn't they?
They did. They had to. But even on TalkSport, like Bellew was on, and like he phrases stuff in a certain way. He says, "Oh, I'm not going to pull Beterbiev's name through the mud. I'm not going to do that." But you know what I mean. There's always a but. Nobody gets stronger as they get older, and you've talked about this already. But some fall from grace from Bellew. Do you know what I mean? Like he would have the man he is now. He would have hated that man 10, 15 years ago. No doubt about it. You know what I mean?
Well, you've got to understand that Tony Bellew is not earning any money as a boxer now. So what's he going to do with his life? So he needs Eddie Hills. Eddie Hills need him. It's like Carl Froch doesn't do anything with Sky or DAZN. He's an Hall of Famer, but he's not needy, is he? He's his own. Whereas these, the needy, your Darren Barkers, your Johnny Nelsons. I like Johnny though, but Johnny Nelson, Tony Bellews, them sort of guys, Spencer Olivers, even Simon Jordan now, because he's had his money issues. They're needy of these people. Froch isn't needy of them. Lennox Lewis, you've seen Lennox Lewis tonight. He's attacking Eddie Hearn on Twitter. He's not needy. These guys are like in the 30 million plus bracket, and they're smart with the money, so they can come out and say what they want. A bit like Roy Keane on Sky. Roy Keane's not bothered about what people think. He just comes out and says it as he sees it, and everybody applauds him. But when Carl Froch says it in boxing, people attack him. Why is that? Because people are insecure in boxing, aren't they?
For sure. I mean, love Froch as a fighter, love him as a pundit too. You know what I mean? There's no fluff. He calls it how he sees it.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Like, look, again, life after boxing, I'll never know. These lads have to make a living, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But how much are your principles worth? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just the way that whole situation was handled. Like, again, all the leeches, all the YouTube channels, the word clomiphene hasn't been brought up. It's like Voldemort and Harry Potter. You know what I mean? The drug that must not be named. Nobody can mention clomiphene ever. 2 adverse findings. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's there. The evidence is there. But you're going to pull a top 3, top 5 pound for pound fighter's name through the mud for an atypical finding? Like, are you joking? I don't know. I thought Hearn couldn't surprise us anymore, but he keeps on doing it for sure. He's got some neck on it.
Yeah, I just want to mention, and not a lot of people know this, and I'm going to use the word allegedly, but up to all parties involved in this except Eddie Hills. But in 2012, Robin Reed for Kenny Anderson, right? And Kenny Anderson failed the dope test, and it was buried for 18 months. Now, Robin found out, and this is a true story. I've mentioned this before on channel, but now we're talking about drugs. I'm going to mention it again. Robin Reed found out through Kenny Anderson's team after about 18 months, and he pulled Eddie Hills about it. And Eddie Hills said, "Yeah, you were retiring anyway." So Robin said, "Yeah, but if I'd have known straight away when it happened I wouldn't have done, because I would have kicked and screamed with my lawyers to have a shot at the vacant British title, because it was that British title, right, that Kenny had. I would have kicked off for the vacant belt because he should have been fighting Paul Smith. But
Mhm.
Tony Johnson went on to fight Paul Smith. There was a gap afterwards for like a period of time where the belt wasn't free because of what were going on behind the scenes. And Eddie Hills, didn't you? Eddie Hills, or should I say, allegedly, you knew all about this. So you've got form going back a long time, not just the Dylan White situations and the Crusher Benz. It were
Mhm.
going on with Robin Reed and Kenny Anderson, and they fought in 2012. Pop, fucking poppity pot.
I just, I couldn't. Well, I didn't know that, but I couldn't.
About that, did you, Adam? Yeah,
Uh,
because it's like nearly 12 years ago. But point I want to make is, and what made me remember it today is I've just had to sit through all the sermons today from, ladies and gentlemen, the Smiths. I've had to sit
mm,
through and listen to the Smiths go on about it like they've got a sense of entitlement, putting adverse findings and atypical findings and therapeutic exemption certificates all in the same bracket. Well, an atypical finding isn't a failure. A
mhm.
therapeutic exemption certificate is signed off by a doctor, but an adverse finding is a guilty. So don't be putting that in the same bracket
Mhm.
as an adverse finding, because you sound like Eddie Hills, Paul, son of Buddy, Jim Royal Smith with your big beard. You know what I mean? They
No,
make
you're.
me laugh.
I know. Look, genuinely, like you're spot on. There's just always some story, some complaint. You know what I mean? And like, there's no way that he doesn't know that he's saying adverse on purpose when he knows the facts. You know what I mean? Like, even like you're talking about Eddie Hearn and his history. If you go back, you remember the tragedy that happened with Patrick Day, the young fella from Chicago, when he
Yeah,
passed away, the Lou DiBella's fighter. There
yeah,
was there was an interview with Hearn, I think the week of, I can't remember, one of the leeches, I'm not sure which YouTuber,
yeah,
but you know, he broke down into tears, right? Now, I'm
yeah,
not saying I'm not saying that he's Jack Nicholson, he's a great actor. I'm not saying that he was fake and crying, because he obviously wasn't. But where is that energy when you're gonna put Chris Eubank Jr. in with a fella that you know has failed two adverse drug tests?
yeah.
So you're gonna cry when it's not your fighter. And again, like, I'm not saying it's a tragedy. I'm not saying it isn't. But
Mm.
then skip through a few years when you get to the zone deal and you flush it down the shitter and you need to make money. You know, you're gonna put Ben in with Eubank Jr. when your father, Barry Hearn, came out previously and said if it wasn't for Eubank Sr. and Sky, that Matchroom would have been dust. It's just, this fella talks about respect, and he's just the lowest of the low. You know, it's just contradiction after contradiction. But then, like you say, the longer that goes by, people just start to forget this stuff. But it would drive you mad, you know?
Yeah. What do you think about a lot of chat on the social media that Dylan White is going to be involved in this Queensbury versus Matchroom thing? What do you think to that? I mean, how can that be? I mean, if you
Yeah.
look at the old card that they're looking at putting on, we've got Fury, he's been done for doping. Dylan
Hmm.
White, Fury 3 times, Dylan White 4 if you count kickboxing.
Hmm.
Then we've got let's have a look who else is on it. There's no more else, but there's Yard on there. They're saying Callum Smith and Yard. I mean, that's a good fight actually, but Dylan
Great
White
fight.
should he even be in the mix? The can man.
Hmm.
I mean, what's going on? What's all that about?
I mean, again, no smoke without fire. And I'm saying that if it was one instance, like you say, including kickboxing, it's four. There's no doubt about it. He shouldn't be involved, you know. And it's weird, like, you know, Big Baby Miller gets all the abuse, and don't get me wrong, I think he deserves every bit of it. But somehow White doesn't. You know what I mean? Or he does with the hardcores, but to the common man watching it, if he's on that card, he'd be like, this is great. He shouldn't be on it. He shouldn't fight again. Now, the way they released that when they did release it seemed a bit shady to me. Like you said, it seems like they knew before, and then, you know, the Joshua situation changed where they saw they could maybe take a different route. Um, but handled badly. But I don't think he should be fighting anymore on multiple levels.
Well, I mean, this is how I look at it. Is there even any testing out there? And if would we even get to know if there were? I mean,
Mm.
what's going on out there? Because this guy clicks his fingers and all he wants, this guy gets done. This Turkey guy. I mean, already he's got Bricktop and Hills. They're involved in a 69er by the looks of it, aren't they? I mean, what is going on here? They can't stand the sight of each other. So what they're going to do? Smile through gritted teeth and be pretend fake mates? It's embarrassing.
Mm. Well, this goes back to the point from earlier, mate.
Yeah.
How much are your principles worth financially? Do you know what I'm saying? Like the boys are all after the dollar, and I get it up to a point, but like you say, it's just there was a deep hatred there for the longest time, and now, like you say, they're giving each other a reach around on the daily basis. I mean, the only good thing I would say out of the Saudi deal, I think domestically it's fucked things up royally. Sorry for the
Yeah,
language,
well,
but if
I've
you look.
already swore anyway, so I'm not going to get my tenner.
I was going to say, right, fair enough. We're off to the races. Let's see where we can go. But if you look domestically, even the likes of like a Lyndon Arthur coming back, you get that big payday out in Saudi, and now you have to come back and fight for 1/20th of it, or what if you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
mentally, that has to be difficult. The only props I'll give Saudi is I think that we're going to get Beterbiev, Bivol. They're talking about June. I think we'll definitely get it this year. And that's brilliant. Just because, if you look at Floyd, Manny happened obviously way too late. I think Canelo with a Triple G out, you know what I mean? Even like forget the third fight, even in the first one, you know what I mean? He took some time. Whereas the money's up now, the two boys are there. Beterbiev's 38. It's time to go. You know what I mean? So, I mean, now that Spence and Crawford happened, I think Beterbiev Bivol becomes, to me anyway, the most anticipated fight in boxing on a competitive level. So if they get that over the line, I'll give them their flowers for that. But again, it's all about money. Do you know what I mean? It's all about money.
Yeah, yeah. Big John Fury, big fighting man's piped up today. First time in a while. He's doing interview after interview after interview. He's saying they better impress the hell out of him, Tyson's team. And if Tyson's 70% of the man he is, he'll still have enough to beat Usyk. I personally don't agree, Adam. How do you see that fight going?
Um, I Heart says Usyk, but I think Fury will win. I don't think it's going to be a very good fight to watch. Do you remember when his eye got split open against Valine
Yeah.
and he just sat on him for the rest of the fight? You know what I mean? And he made it an absolute dog fight. I think behind closed doors, Fury's not an idiot. You know what I mean? Like he might talk a lot of shit, but he's a boxing man. If
Mm.
his legs are going, he's going to know it in training. I agree with you. I don't think he's got the legs anymore, the movement. I think when he fought Wilder for the second time, everyone was like he was so brave and his new game plan. I think he knew just from losing all the weight that the legs were gone. But I
Mm.
think he'll make it a dog fight, and I think he'll win. I think he'll win by
He'll
late
maul him.
stoppage.
I think he'll maul him up close.
I think so. I think he'll just sit on him. Obviously, he'll try and get him against the ropes, but I think he'll sit on him, put all his weight on him, and I think he'll just work the body. If Usyk has one Achilles tail, it is the body. You know what I mean? Like even Dubois, as outmatched as he was, he did prove that. So yeah, I think he'll sit on him, work the body, and I think he'll get a late stoppage. But if you're asking me who I want to win, Usyk all day, class act.
But when Steve Cunningham dropped him, right, he
Hmm.
said, he said, and I quote, "There's no way I thought I'm going to chase him around like he had been doing." He says, "I thought I'm just going to get up close. I'm just going to maul him." And I don't think he'll want an Usyk's, not Steve Cunningham, is he? And I don't
Hmm.
think that Tyson personally will want to be chasing Usyk around that ring. I think he'll want to make it like you just said, a dog fight and just
Hmm.
maul him, Adam.
Yeah.
That's,
I think it's
but
the only way. I think it's the only way he wins because, like you say, if it's a game of movement, it's Usyk. It's Usyk all day. So
how do you
hope
see?
you're
Sorry, go on.
good. No, no, no. You're good. You're good. You're good.
How do you see Anthony Joshua and Ngannou playing out?
Um, love Big Francis. I'm a big UFC guy as well. Obviously, living out here, there's no time difference, so it's brilliant. I think Joshua will win. I'm not. I'm not fully sure. Like Joshua changes fight to fight. Like if we see the guy that went in versus Volin, he absolutely could knock him out. But I think Joshua, if you look at his performances against Franklin and stuff, I know he jumped around training, but I think he's going to be so afraid of the embarrassment of getting knocked out by Ngannou that I
Yeah,
think he'll try and stay on the outside, and just pick him off. I think Joshua wins. I think he wins a decision. I don't think he stops Big Francis, or if he does, it'll be very, very, very late.
yeah,
Yeah, like I think Joshua points probably. I think he'll take the safe fight if he can. Like, for a big man, whatever about giving him slack, Joshua, he moves fairly well even at this point in his career, better than Francis anyway. So I think he'll try and move and just pick him off. So I
yeah.
think Joshua wins.
Okay. Tyson Fury. He went to points with Vladimir.
Hmm.
He went to points with Wallin, and he went to points with Ngannou. Anthony Joshua. He iced Vladimir. He iced Wallin. If he ices Ngannou, do you make Anthony Joshua a favourite if he does fight Fury this year?
It's a very good question. Um, no, I don't. Well, sorry, let me take that back. It depends. Sorry, you said if you said if Fury knocks out Usyk, is that right?
No, no. I said, right, Anthony Joshua, right?
Mm-hmm.
He knocked Vladimir out, Wallin, and if he knocks Ngannou out, Fury went to points with all them, didn't he? And the only
Mm-hmm.
other common opponent they'll have is Usyk now. Usyk beat Joshua twice, didn't he? That was his stumbling block. Now,
Mm-hmm.
looking at that, I mean, just because A beats B don't mean he beats C. We all know that, don't we? Because Ali beat Foreman, didn't he? But Foreman beat Fraser, and Ali lost to Fraser, even though he beat him twice. So it doesn't necessarily mean that. But looking at
Mm-hmm.
it like that, going on current form and that, if he looks good against Ngannou and knocks him out, and Fury
Mm-hmm.
has a stinker with Usyk, either loses or wins a close one. Do you make Anthony Joshua the favourite if Fury and Usyk fight? Because I'd like to think that you'd make him the favourite on current form, wouldn't you?
Yeah, on paper, probably. I mean, again, it's like you said, there's a lot of ifs at the minute. Like if he looks good against Ngannou, you know what I mean? Maybe you make him favorite. I just think, like down through the years, I feel like there's always been that big brother, little brother thing with Fury and Joshua. Not that they like each other, but I think Fury always kind of had his number when it came to the mind games and the trash talk and all the rest. Same kind of principle. Like you can say what you want about Fury, but he is a dog when it comes down to it. I think you try and make it rough and tumble with Joshua, and I don't know if Joshua's dragged into deep waters again, like he was against Ruiz. I think all those memories come flashing back, and I think he might just swallow it. Gun to me head, I don't. I think it's as close to a 50-50, even if Joshua does smoke Ngannou.
There.
I just think like mentally there's so much pressure. Biggest British fight ever, obviously. Eddie Hearn saying it's the biggest fight in boxing history. I don't really agree with that, but a lot of pressure. Um, and again, it's all about Fury's game plan. Again, if he can kind of get in close and just rough him up, and you know, I think he could get it done for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? What's happening now
Mhm.
with this Saudi thing? But do you think it's going to have a knock-on effect with UK now with shows?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's going to affect, you know, domestic lower level boxing. Well, all domestic boxing really. Um, but again, like yeah, I think you've kind of talked about this before. This happened with Vegas way back in the day, you know what I mean? And there was the same kind of skepticism there. I don't think the Saudi project's going to last forever. I think there's too many things that are missing. Like you can't have a drink. The atmosphere isn't great. I don't care what Bricktop says. You know what I mean? The atmosphere just isn't great. Obviously, there's bags of money everywhere, but I think it'll fizzle out eventually. Because like this heavyweight era, what? There's two fights left, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, like these eliminators now, and then the two winners. That's really it. I don't really want to see Wilder fight again.
Now,
Um,
uh,
and then like Parker's whatever. I've never, I respect. He seems like a top bloke, but I've never really loved watching him. So. whatever.
You know, Joseph Parker, we fighting Wilder and then Zhang. They're
Hmm.
the fights that you'd want Joshua to fight because Joshua's fought like Wallin and now Ngannou. When
Hmm.
really it should have been Wilder and then Zhang, shouldn't it? I think. So are they using Parker as like a blocker to protect Joshua? A bit like they did Dylan White back in the day.
I think absolutely. Even go further back than that. Like if you look at Joshua's,
Luis Ortiz, he won one as well, wasn't
yeah, but if you look at like Joshua's like reign after he beat Vlad, and Eddie Hearnby's talking about resumes like Takam, Povetkin,
he? And
like these are
Melina.
exactly like these are in the
Brazil.
Brazil, forget it, like an absolute statue. Um, but big fella. But I mean, give
That's a
me a
proper Irish saying, isn't it? That's a good one, that Adam.
sound. But the point I'm trying to make is I think that Hearn has always tried to put. I'm not saying anything against Bums, that's not right. But I don't. He's always tried to wrap him in cotton wool. Sure, Hearn's come out since and said like he never wanted Joshua to take the Usyk fight.
Yeah,
Um, you know, for obvious reasons. Like Hearn's not an idiot. He probably knew. Listen, with the way you are now, mentally, physically, the whole lot, I think the Usyk fella will beat you. You know, obviously he's never going to say that to him,
yeah,
but he was trying to block that fight, and it's the same now. Um, you know, cotton wool the whole time. Not so much even the Fury's resume is better, but I think Joshua's resume is quite overrated. Did you see Zhang and Parker are scheduled for the same show?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's sorry, you just said that. It's one thing I give Parker as well. Like again, obviously whatever, but he's never really turned down a fight.
No,
Um,
he's active in Parker. He wants to
yeah,
fight, doesn't he?
yeah, and you know he's again like obviously hindsight's 2020, but people thought he was a lunatic getting in there with Wilder.
I did.
Um, yeah, me too, me too. I had Wilder at an accumulator. I had Wilder at I don't know. I think the over under was 5.5 or something rounds. I thought Wilder would ping him quick.
Wilder cost me £500. It cost my mate about 2 grand on
Uh,
accumulator. My mate Scott, we were devastated.
Brutal, hey. That's what, like, you know, I think he blew up a lot of people's bets that weekend, but Parker will take any fight. I think that's impressive. But he's got lucky through his career too. Like the Ruiz fight was on a, you know what I mean? Like I think that was like a hometown decision, very close, probably 7-5 either way. And then the Hughie Fury fight, I remember watching it. It was brutal to watch, but Fury won, like Hughie did. Like there's no, in my mind, there was no doubt watching it. But whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Refereeing in UK. You've probably seen that Channel 4 documentary
Mm.
where Jeff Hines is suing the board. He'd been a a referee over 30 years and was never given the chance to be an A star. Uh, Ian John Lewis, he settled out of court, but Jeff
Hmm.
Hines going all the way, and he thinks there's an element of racism. And do you think he might have a case because he, or do you think there's the A stars is just like a boxed off old boys club, and that nobody's allowed in?
He might have a case. I don't know. I'll be honest. I saw bits of the documentary. I don't know that much about it.
Hmm.
He might have a case, but you know, it's going to be a hard one to win. Um,
Because they'll all gang up on him, do you think, at court?
yeah, yeah, and like
Do you
again,
think if he's never done anything wrong as a referee and he's always had an exemplary career, do you think it's unfair that he never got a chance to be an A star? I do.
absolutely, it's unfair. You know,
But you never
absolutely.
hear anything about Jeff Hines making a balls up of things. But some of these A stars that the balls and stuff up, judging and refing constantly, every couple of weeks, and
Mm.
there's like a whopper, isn't there, from them?
The standard's shocking, man. Even like even Kenny Bayless, isn't that what you call him? Who
Yeah.
ref
Oh, Kenny Bayless.
Maidana Mayweather. Now, if you go back and look at that fight, the first one between Mayweather and Maidana, I thought he was unbelievable. Like he let Maidana fight on the inside, and he made it a contest where I think a lot of refs would have buckled to the Mayweather power. But if you look at that stoppage last year when Romero was fighting, and he had won recently as well, and then you know, he blurted out or he tweeted out about the brain scan and stuff. He's lost the plot. And then even I can't remember the fella's name, but the fella who ref the Katie Taylor fight, I'll probably get a bit of stick for this. being Irish. I thought he was piss poor on the night. I thought he let Taylor away with murder. Obviously, I was happy for her to win, but like I thought he stacked the deck against Cameron big time. You know, you kind of expect that in Dublin, but it doesn't make it right. So the standard's not good. They need a reshuffle. But then, like you said, the system's so old. Good luck trying to change it.
Yeah. Is it Tony Weeks, the guy with the mustache in American Ref? Is it? Is he? He's a ref, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Here, let me
Weeks,
pull
his
him up.
second name.
I
No.
know that name.
He refereed the
Tony.
Andre Ward Kovalev fight, didn't he?
Sorry. I was talking about Tony Weeks, not Kenny Bayless. That's my
Yeah, I'm
bad.
gonna say I thought
Tony
that's
Weeks.
yeah.
Yeah. That's who I'm talking about. You know, he was a gold standard at a certain point, like, or maybe not gold standard, but he was very strong. But it just looks like he's lost the plot. You know, and you can't tell me like the man's in his 60s. You can't tell me it's like anything else. You know, you see it in snooker all the time. You know, boys drop off for multiple reasons. I don't think. I don't know. I think they should make a cut off for refs. You get to a certain age, and that's that. You know what I mean? Retirement time.
Yeah. Uh Kovalev, he's
Hmm.
fighting. He's coming back. He's gonna fight a 16-0 guy. Uh in so look where he's fighting at. 17th of Feb, Kovalev comes back. I was just thinking
Hmm.
about him today. Well, it doesn't really matter where he's fighting, but point what makers. Do you think he's a bit over to be coming back now, Kovalev?
For sure. Um, I think he was over the hill when he got stopped by Canelo, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, yeah, I do.
But look, again, it goes back to that question. It's a hard thing to get out of. I mean, Kovalev he could have been much more. I know he did very well, but they reckon he never took care of himself and he never took his career fully seriously. A wee bit like James Toney. You know, he give Ward hell. You wonder what difference it would have made if he was training like Ward, you know, but I don't know. I don't think he should be fighting anymore, but who the hell am I to say?
Yeah. Okay, then we'll finish off on this. Sonny Edwards has had plenty to say on social media. He's gone into full roadman killer mode. He's not bothered about anybody, blah, blah, blah. Do we see the same energy for a rematch with Bam Bam Rodriguez? Yes or no?
No, sir. No, sir.
He's
And
not. Lost his belt. He should want to get back in with him and get his belt back, shouldn't he?
yeah, I mean he should. And here's the thing, like I'm laughing. I rate Sonny Edwards, obviously. I
I
mean,
do. I do. He's a good boxer.
technically he's beautiful. You know, I like watching the smaller guys too. I know a lot of people don't, but he's excellent. I
Mm.
just think, you know, and I think it happened with Smith at the weekend. I think and it happened to Ryan Garcia when he swallowed it against Tank. You see these boys in there sometimes,
Yeah.
and like mentally they just realize there's not a chance in hell I'm beating this fella. The one thing I would give Sonny is at least he tried to fight back. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like you have to give him that.
Yeah.
But you know, Bam Bam just smashed him from pillar to post in all departments. So I don't know. I don't see him going back into that Lions Den anytime soon, mate.
Okie dokie. Well, listen, I'm going to give you a 10. The first 10 I've ever give anybody
Oh,
is
so man.
only 10. I give Julian a 9 for his. I'm going to give you a 10 for speaking clearly and actually being patient and delivering your words. You're a natural, mate. So well done.
Thanks
And
a
I
million, bud. I
hope you
appreciate
want
it.
when you want to come on again.
Can't wait. Let's
That's
do it.
that's fantastic. Well, you've got my number. Keep in touch, Adam. Okay.
Top man, Ross.
Have a
Cheers.
great
Thanks a
day.
million, mate.
Take care.
Good man. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Well, that was Adam Carlin from Ireland. Did you say from Galway? You live in, I don't know Ireland, so nobody have a go at me. But I thought it was brilliant. The Irish lads that come on are fantastic. Ken, Jerry, Adam, brilliant. So I hope everybody enjoyed him. What did you think to Adam's debut in the comment section? Let me know. I thought he did fantastic. Could he be the new Kent? Yeah. So look forward to having Kent back on. Okie dokie. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Peace out. Pop, pop, bang. Rocky, out. Go on, out.